All right, it looks like normally it takes a second for us to kick off the streaming. So normally we wait a second, but I'm going to hit it off the button now and see how quickly it gets to it. So ready? On your mark, get set, go.
Go. Ray!
What is up, Raider Nation? Welcome once again to another what we hope to be fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio, episode number 109 back here in Murf's Fan Cave. Appreciate everybody joining us here for Raiders Fan Radio after a big win on Monday night.
Woo!
Eve. Yeah. For those of you on the YouTubes that are watching us, you can see that the camera looks a little bit different. We don't go black and white, we go silver and black. And the camera shot is silver and black. Santa has gifted us. Santa looks a lot like Uncle Mosh. Has gifted us with a lot of new audio, or not audio, but new visual equipment. So we're going through. We're under construction here in the Fan Cave. We're going through some new upgrades, and so we will have those for you here in the next week or so. But in the meantime, we kind of retrograded a little bit. So if you're watching us today on the YouTubes, you're going to find us in black and white and in non-HD, which is perfect for a couple faces made for radio. Ron says that there's no audio. Let's see. Let me check my capture device here. Everything looks good on my end, Ron. So I hope that you can hear us. Let me know again if you're not able to hear us. So apologize there if you're not able to hear us. All right. So episode number 109, and of course I can't do this alone. So welcome to the Fan Cave, the one and only Uncle Mosh. Welcome, Uncle Mosh.
Hey, it's good to be here. You can just call me Uncle Instant Gratification because I can't make my computer work either. So I'm in last week's. But you know what? I'll get it. It'll kick in. I'll hit the refresh button, my favorite button in the whole thing.
Ron says that we've got it now, and so once Ron gives us the A-OK, then it's officially time to start the episode of Raiders Fan Radio. So speaking of Ron, thank you to all of you that are joining us in the chat room this morning. Thank you to John Q, Kevin the Raider Nerd, Ron, as I mentioned, Damon, Chris Potts, Black Hole, New Jersey represent there, Monster Mash Ken, Sean Quinn, Joseph Morales, Mojo Raiders there, Jonah is in there, Chris Black is in there, Jeffrey Anderson, whole bunch of people in the chat this morning already, Uncle Mosh. So thank you to those of you that are joining us. So a lot to talk about today. Episode number 109, as I mentioned, we're going to run down the significance of the number 109. As you know, we always find something to relate our episode number to something significant in Raider Nation. And we're going to do that. We're going to give out some respect. We are going to talk about the significance of the win. We're going to talk a little bit about the Christmas season, some stuff that's happened recently for us and how it relates to the show. We're going to talk about memorable Monday night games. We're going to talk about the players' reaction, the coaches' reactions to the game, the significance of playing in Oakland. And then, of course, we're going to get to the Sea of Fans mailbag, and we're going to hear from you both via email and via voicemail. So thank you to those of you that always reach out to us in that way. So, wow, without further ado, Uncle Mosh, Merry Christmas.
Oh, what a great time of the year. I love this time of the year.
It's the best.
It's the best time of the year. So I got to say, man, I'm humbled by all the birthday wishes I got. You know, for those of you that don't know, my birthday's a couple days before Christmas. And I got tons and tons and tons of folks reached out, and I read every single one of them. I was sitting there in my underwear doing my scratch-offs, and you're like, Uncle Mosh.
Scratch-offs meaning lottery tickets.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't sitting there in my underwear scratching one off. I was sitting there doing my scratch-offs. But anyway, that was another story. So I was sitting there, and you called, and you go, dude, you know, during halftime, because we were watching, we didn't watch it together, but we were watching the Raider game together via the phone.
Via phone, yeah.
And you're like, man, you got to check out your all your stuff on Facebook. So, I called a kid and had him help walk me through it, and and how to get to Facebook.
Yeah.
And I was blown away, man. Almost 400 people wished me happy
That's pretty
whatever,
cool.
and
pretty cool,
man. And so I read every single one of them, and I liked them or loved them or did a humorous, the little face things, and it was great. It was a truly humbling experience to see the fans reaching out like that, and it was fun, man. I shared a couple with my wife. I deleted a couple that she would never see, and I had a blast with it, man. I had a blast with it, and it was really good. It was really good. So it was a lot of fun, and I was like I said, I was humbled. So let's move on.
Okay,
and Christmas was great, and we had a good time, and
Christmas.
we're going to talk about a couple of the gifts that went one way or the other, and love being in silver and black on the screen.
Yeah,
it's not black and white. We've adjusted it. It is definitely silver and black, and I love it, man.
It is definitely silver and black. That's right. So we'll go ahead and get underway. So yeah, thanks again to those of you that reached. Thank on Mosh's behalf there. It was really, really cool there. And so especially having a birthday that's so close to Christmas, it's nice having a differing message, right, Mosh?
Well, it's what's really cool is that. Having your birthday that close to Christmas, and those of you that do, you can relate, you understand. When I became an adult and I said to the family, I said, if you're going to give me something, and you should, I don't want it in Christmas paper.
No,
I'd rather
don't give me your leftover wrappings.
Don't give me your leftover. I'd rather have it not wrapped than to have it in Christmas paper. So I'm married to this wonderful woman. I finally got a good one, and she goes out of her way to make sure that everything I get is in birthday paper.
Yeah.
So now my Christmas gifts are in birthday paper, but that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, don't be picky. Right. Well, thank you to those of you that are joining us here today. As a lot of you know that are live on the chat, this is another breakfast with Murf and Mosh here. It is the morning time, our time, and on the West Coast, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So appreciate you all lifting your Raiders coffee mug and joining us here for an early morning episode of Raiders Fan Radio. With the holiday season, it's kind of a funky time for us to record because we had let's see. Well, we of course we have Christmas, which was yesterday. So again, Merry Christmas to you all, or whatever it is that you celebrate. Happy, awesome season of the year. Then next week we got New Year's, and then what was it Thanksgiving, and then we had another one that kind of threw a little bit of a wrench into our recording schedule. So anyway, appreciate you all bearing with us and as we kind of flex around on the times that we go live, and these morning shows are actually kind of fun. So appreciate you all jumping in here with us this morning. All right, so before we get to the contact information, I want to tell you a couple of things. Number one is that the best way to support our show is via YouTube. So go to youtube.com/Murf's Fan Cave. That's MURFS Fan Cave. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, even hit the bell that will notify you whenever we go live. That is the best way right now to support Raiders Fan Radio. Other ways, via audio podcast, of course. You can find us in the Apple App Store. You just search for Murf's Fan Cave, and you can find our show that way. And then on Android, you can find us via app. So download the Android app. You can just search for Murf's Fan Cave. You'll find that, and then that will carry the three regardless of what you do, you'll get all 3 shows. You get this one, you get which is Raiders Fan Radio, then you get Mondays with Mikey and Murf, and then you get the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Tom. Don't forget Tom, and sometimes Chris Potts. Yeah. So and much more coming up about those guys here in just a minute. So before we get to all that, let's give a quick T-shirt update. Uncle Mosh have been getting asked a lot about T-shirts.
Holy moly.
So we're going to have T-shirts on the way soon. Stay tuned on that. Appreciate you all asking about that, about the new Raiders Fan Radio T-shirts. We will have those on the way soon. And in the meantime, go to deadpiratesports.com.
Right.
And our buddy Jeff there does a great job. Anything you buy from deadpiratesports.com, you can put promo code RFR10 at checkout and get 10% off. And you can buy one of the fabulous What Happens in Vegas Started in Oakland shirts, which is now starting to catch on a little bit.
Yeah.
It started off as a catchphrase here on Raiders Fan Radio on a contest by our good friend Emiliano, Big Raider Trucker, and now is showing up on signs at the Oakland Coliseum during this last Monday's
And those
game.
those weren't just like in your garage with a felt pen signs. That looked good.
No, that
was legit signage, dude.
Somebody went and printed signs that
yeah.
said what happened.
I loved it, man.
It was really cool. So, look, it happens to us when we do sometimes
all the time.
We've done segments or we've had ideas that kind of migrate their way into the lexicon of
mainstream Raiderdom.
Right, exactly. and there's another one right there. And of course, compliments of our buddy Emiliano, who did a fantastic job coming up with that slogan, that tagline. So anyways, all right, let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off. We'll play some contact information, and then we'll get into the next episode of Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us, show at RaidersFanRadio.com, or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget Murf's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good.
All right, Raider Nation, thanks again for joining us here on episode number 109, a breakfast episode with Murf and Uncle Mosh. And you know, Uncle Mosh, this morning I went out and I grabbed some coffee. We were out of coffee, so I had to go run the grocery store and grab some coffee. And I was listening to Fox Sports while I was out and about. Man, I think we're doing some good work here this morning by bringing Raiders content, because sports radio this morning, considering that everybody good is on vacation, Fox Sports Radio was awful this morning, man.
Yeah?
It was terrible. So I'm glad we can at least provide something for what we're capable of, at least. I'm glad we're able to provide an alternative sports radio content this morning for our listeners, because it's bad out there this morning. So, but all right. So episode number 109. So we always like to come up with something significant in relation to the Raiders in terms of our episode number, and with episode number 109. There wasn't anything that really, really jumped out, but there was something that Mosh and I were talking about this morning that we found that was really interesting. And so the number 109 is significant in terms of, in 2003, when you look at the point differential between the points for the entire season and the points against for the entire season, for the Raiders, it was negative 109. Now, point differential, for those of you that don't know, you take the entirety of the points that your team scored and the entirety of the points that they allowed,
Sure.
and you contrast the two. You want that number to be positive.
Oh, absolutely.
You want that number to be a positive number
Yeah.
because that means you're outscoring your opponent more than you're getting scored upon.
Right.
So when John Gruden was our coach the first time, the first season in 1998, he had a negative 68 point differential.
Sure, something he had to overcome.
And then it only went up, and it stayed up until Bill Callahan got there.
Who?
Bill Callahan, the coach that called our team the dumbest team in America. Well, that year when we were the, quote, dumbest team in America, that was the year we had the negative 109. And here's the kicker, Mosh. We've been negative pretty much ever since then. There was one year with Cable where we were positive by 39 points, and there was the playoff year with Del Rio where we were positive 31 points. Aside from that, we've been negative every year that John Gruden hasn't been our head coach. So now, of course, we're negative again this year, but we're going to trust, just like the first time, that we're going to go positive after this year. So remember, 109 is just a reminder that things aren't always that bad.
109.
That's a Beatles reference for those of you.
I'm sure a few of them will get it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Uncle Mosh, we always give respect on this show. We don't give props. We don't give shout-outs. We give respect. And there's a lot of respect to be given out this week. Of course, it's the Christmas season. It's the holiday season. It's the time for giving, and giving is always better than getting. And we want to celebrate and respect some Raiders that have done some great things here lately. Donald Penn, who hasn't seen much playing time here lately, unfortunately for our team, actually up until this last week, because the tackles actually played pretty well this week. But anyways, aside from that, Donald Penn hasn't seen a lot of playing time on the field this year, and but off the field, he's doing great things. And he did a really cool event where he does this shopping event where he gets the kids, some underprivileged kids from East Oakland together, and he gives them a $300 shopping spree at Walmart. And he not only is he there, but a lot of the players are around him. He's got Kalechi is there, Paul Butler's there, Brandon Parker, Johnny Townsend, our new best friend Darren Waller was there, a handful of Raiders. And you know, it's cool because he gives them like this $300 shopping spree, but you could see in the videos that like their kids are spending more. And he
doesn't care.
He don't care.
Nah.
He's just letting them go. And it's really cool. So I just want to celebrate them, and I want to show respect to Donald Penn in this group of guys. And we'll play an audio clip for you here real quick, kind of talking about the event that took place.
Today, I'm giving 25 lucky kids a $300 gift card at Walmart. I got a couple of my teammates here, so we're going to pair each one with a kid and walk around, take them shopping, interact with them, have fun with them. Oh, you got it, huh? Let me help. I got it. Another $34, all right? Put it in the basket. And it's just a blessing. You know, Christmas is a hard time for a lot of people and stuff, so, you know, it's my 6th year doing this. Christmas is big because it's one of my favorite holidays, so it's dear to me. And, you know, giving a hand and walking around with these kids, seeing these smiles, giving them ideas, helping them pick out stuff, just having fun with them, seeing the smiles on their face, and it's just a great thing to do. And I'm so happy and lucky my teammates came out here on their day off to help me out.
There we go. Pretty cool. So definitely respect to Donald Penn and the group of Raiders that went out and did that.
Well, you know, at 25 kids at $300 a piece, $700 or $7,500, and this is his 6th year. That's $45,000.
That's awesome,
dude. $45,000 to go to help underprivileged kids.
That's cool,
man.
And that's
major,
you know, and again, like,
respect.
and he's spending more than that even too, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that's
you
awesome.
know, man, that's tops in my book,
and
man.
like, you know, we've given Donald Penn a bad time before about, you know, some of the holdout stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
what, you know, fair is fair. Look, I want to give the guy again respect here when, you know, doing
absolutely.
the right thing, you know.
We'll give him a hard time about his play on the field, but his play off the field, man.
Exactly right. Absolutely. So a couple comments in there already in the chat. I love it. Osamele is handing out pancakes. That was pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good there. And Uncle Mosh, for those of you on the YouTube, you see he's wearing his black hole shirt. We're going to touch on that here in just a sec, Chris Potts. We're going to talk a lot about that.
Absolutely.
All right. So next up, I want to give respect to the one and only, the absolute unmatched Marshawn Lynch, man. I rhapsodized quite a bit about Marshawn Lynch on the last episode of Mondays with Mikey Murf, so I'm not going to ramble on about him here. But my feelings are this. He just embodies the spirit of the Oakland Raiders so much, and more so than a lot of other players that were career Raiders. This guy gets it. He's amazing. Thankfully, he was able to light the torch. You know, we've said numerous times here leading up to this game about what the significance of who should light the torch would be. Could it be Charles Woodson? Would it be Madden? Whatever. So the fact that Marshawn came back and did it was amazing. That was like his way to get the send-off from the crowd because he wasn't going to get it in uniform because he's been hurt, whatnot. Anyway, so there's just, Marshawn is just a Raider, man. He's awesome. But he's also Oakland. He grew up in Oakland. He was born there. He played his high school football there. He won his championship there. You know, he played football at Cal. Like, he embodies the spirit of the East Bay as well. And he's an A's fan. So not only is he a Raiders fan, he's not a diehard, but he's an A's diehard. He's thrown out first pitches for the team. He's a Warriors fan, right? So
do you think there's a reason, and I don't mean to interrupt your flow because you're on a pretty good roll, but do you think that when Marshawn was with that other team that shall not be named, that he was known as that guy that didn't speak, that didn't talk, that, you know, he was Mr. Quiet, Mr. I got nothing to say.
I'm only here so I don't get fined.
I'm only here so I get fined. There's a reason that now he's home and he's Mr. Vocal.
Yeah.
Man, he's like, you know, he's more accessible. This is the guy and I love that. That's the best part about that whole story is that, you know, it's a homecoming. Who says you can't go home again?
Absolutely.
Not Marshawn.
Absolutely. Great point, Mosh. Yeah. And so, you know, the A's announced their 7th stadium proposal in 13 years, this new stadium that's going to be at the Howard Terminal. And I don't know what the feasibility of this project is. You know, people are already shooting down how possible it is to build this extravagant stadium with all this stuff that they're talking about. One way or the other, though, the city council of Oakland was debating they were discussing the issue. And Marshawn showed up to speak on behalf of the A's.
Publicly.
Yeah. At city council.
Without being told to do it, without being mandated.
Absolutely.
Right?
No, and not by anything other than his own, you know, what do you call it, volition?
Yeah.
Other than by showing up by that, like he just went. He's not campaigning on behalf of some organization or something. Nothing. He is just Marshawn Lynch showing up at an Oakland City Council meeting
as an A's fan.
And this is really cool. So we got the audio from that.
Match next speaker, please.
How you doing? I'm Marshawn Lynch, Oakland born and raised, and I'm in support of this project. We losing the Warriors. We losing the Raiders. Let's not lose the A's. Appreciate it.
Can I take a selfie with you? I'm serious. I'll go over to the side. Me too. Next speaker, please.
That's pretty good, huh? That's pretty good.
Somebody was a little fan drunk there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that, man. So if none of you have ever been, if you've never been to a city council meeting, you got to wait in line.
Yeah.
There's a line, you know, and I've spoken at city council meetings before. You have to wait in line. So Marshawn waited in line with everybody else to get his turn to go up there and speak.
Yeah.
That's just cool, man.
And he's Marshawn. He's wearing a backpack, like slides, you know, pair of shorts. Like, I mean, he's Marshawn.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. So if you haven't seen the video of it, definitely check that out. And so, I mean, no one embodies the spirit of the East Bay like he does, man. He's awesome. And so we definitely want to give respect to Marshawn. So, Uncle Mosh, so speaking of the East Bay, you know, I don't have a big thing. There's no audio plan on this. There's no really big thing I want to detail on this part of giving respect. Other than I just want to say, I want to give a lot of respect to the Oakland fans. I wouldn't even put myself in that group. We grew up in the South Bay. We grew up in San Jose. And of course, we're as diehard Raider fans as you could get, enough to do a podcast on the morning after Christmas on the Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like, there's no more diehard fan that you can get of us, but we're not Oakland fans. the Oakland fan themselves, they're losing the team. I'm talking about the people that are there week in, week out with the tailgates, the organizing around, so I'm talking about like the everybody from Forever Oakland to the 66th Street Mob, to all those Oakland fans that represented Raider Nation so amazingly well this last week. So amazing at the game. There's a lot of footage out there about, the fans after the game and, people dancing and celebrating. And, there was a lot of talk leading up to the game about, everybody's going to, tear the place apart and everyone's going to take their seats and they're going to protest and they're going to march on the field and they're going to like all this stuff. None of that happened.
Nope.
You know what happened? Everybody had a freaking blast.
Yeah.
They all had fun. Everybody, speaking of embodying the spirit of the team and the organization and that area, it was awesome to see. And we're going to interview a guy named Michael Sen, who I mentioned last week, who not only took his wife and kids, but his brother and his wife and kids, and they as a big family went to the game. And we're going to interview Michael tomorrow and get a firsthand account of everything from walking into the stadium to when it was over. And I'm really looking forward to hearing a firsthand account of it. But I just want to, no one does it like we do. And no one does it, even more specifically like Oakland does it. And
right.
Look, this was it, man. So, I apologize for kind of rambling here for a minute, and I don't even know exactly what I'm trying to say.
Nor do we.
But whatever it is, man, I just love our team. I love our fans. I love Raider Nation, and I'm grateful that we represent the way that we do, and it sucks that we're going to Vegas, but I accept we're going to Vegas, but I don't like that we're going to Vegas.
Yeah, no, we're moving on. We're moving on, and yeah, good call.
All right, so let me go. So let's go to the opposite side of the world, Uncle Mosh, or not the opposite side of the world, opposite side of the country, anyways. And let's go to Jersey.
Okay,
let's go to Jersey. The last bit of respect that I want to give here before we get going on the game rundown is I want to give respect to I guess really two things. One, the Black Hole for everything that I just said because of what happened on Christmas Eve. But you can become a member of the Black Hole.
Right,
and this year for Christmas, my gift to you is I wanted to have you become a member of the Black Hole. And so I bought you a membership to the Black Hole, and you're wearing your shirt now. You're official member of the Black Hole. That's right. That's football's most notorious fans. And so I bought a membership kit, and it comes with all this stuff, and it comes with the shirts and stickers and plaques. And you got your plaque. Do you want to show me your plaque?
I will.
So there's your plaque. So there it is. So Uncle Mosh is now an official member of the Black Hole. That's right. As of the 23rd of December, 2018, his birthday. So he's official member of the Black Hole Fan Club, established 1995. Now, the Black Hole obviously originated in Oakland, and it originated at the Oakland Coliseum with those fans in that end zone. But anybody can become a member, and it's a global organization at this point, and there are chapters of the Black Hole all over the globe and in our country, and we are loosely affiliated with the New Jersey chapter. And that's one of the reasons why, as much as we talk about the Black Hole, I thought it would only be appropriate that one of us be official members of the Black Hole. And so, again, that was my gift to Mosh. Well, I told the guys in New Jersey about me giving Uncle Mosh this for Christmas and having him become an official member of the Black Hole. So Chuck McCann, who's the president of the New Jersey chapter, I let him know, I'm like, well, hey, look, we're official now because Mosh is going to become a member. And Chuck's response was, you want to tell him Chuck's response there?
So Chuck's response was, Chuck sent some stuff, and it was amazing. It was some of the stuff that they have, their logos and things, and it was a welcome to the family kind of a thing. But he sent me in a letter, and he said, and I'll read it to you. It says, members of the Black Hole can be part of any chapter they like. We would love to make Uncle Mosh an official member of the New Jersey chapter if he'll have us. And it's signed Chuck Splatterhead McCann, and it's this letter, and it's right here and it's got their official logo and everything on it. And so, Chuck, I'm in, baby.
You're in.
I'm in. So
congratulations, Uncle Mosh. You got applause? Get your own applause.
Yeah. So I got an
There we
applause
go, there
button.
we go.
Thank you. I'm honored to be a member, and I would go so far as to say I'm probably the only member in Tennessee of the New Jersey chapter
Yeah.
of the Black Hole.
Absolutely.
And I'm proud of that. Yeah, so I've got a sticker that will go on. My wife and your wife were when I was so excited when I opened this. It was the last gift of the holidays, and I was like, oh no, I was freaking out, man, with the plaque and the shirt and it came with a sticker, and my wife's going, what are you gonna do with that sticker? And I'm like, I'm gonna put it on the window of my vehicle, and she's like, oh. Well, do you think people will know what that means? And I'm like, the ones that are important will know. The ones that understand football will know what the
Absolutely.
black hole is. Everybody knows what the black hole is, you know.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm fired up, man. I'm fired up. I think on my next business card, my Uncle Mosh business card,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I'll have the black hole logo.
Oh, there you go.
Member.
The member of the Black Hole. There you go.
Yeah,
Awesome, nice. So, so appreciate Chuck. Appreciate the invite. And thanks to all the New Jersey chapter. Have you ever been to New Jersey?
I have been through New Jersey on my way to New York.
Okay.
And if we end up going to New York next year, we will be doing some major time in Jersey.
Oh, well, we will.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. We know we're going to play the Jets, or most likely we're going to play the Jets. So we'll see where it falls on the schedule. But anyway, so very, very cool stuff there. So congratulations, Uncle Mosh.
Thank you.
You are now
thank you for reaching out and taking care of that. And I love the fact that it was on so much about my 60th birthday, with my sister stuff that you got me, and now being an official member of the Black Hole.
A Raiderific birthday.
A Raiderific birthday. And Chris and everybody else that's been reaching out to me on the chat, I appreciate you guys so much. I can't wait for us to eat everything in New Jersey and see a Raider game.
There you go. Yeah. We'll go for the pizza and stay for the Raiders, right?
For sure. Awesome. Okay. Oh, one last thing. Update.
Okay. Give us an update, Mosh.
Just a quick update.
Okay.
This just did. The Uncle Mosh logo on the bottom of the screen is correct. I am no longer identified as Kevin.
No, I got that right.
Yeah,
I got it right this
Thank you
week.
for
It
that.
only took me a week.
But Kevin, my buddy, who I'm okay with the whole chair thing, took a shot right off the bat. Early on, Kevin's watching on the YouTube.
Oh, is he on there on the
and
chat?
right off the bat, not even a, hey, belated happy birthday, nothing. He's like, hey, Uncle Mosh, your chair was really comfortable.
Oh.
Kevin.
Nicely done, Kev.
This is Kevin, the Raider Nerd, live at the Oakland Raiders tailgate. Raiders! We got Gorilla. Say hi to Uncle Mosh and Murf.
I love you guys. Much love from the Black Hole, baby. Just win.
Hey, Chuck McCann on the chat just says, Uncle Mosh, we do lasagna at our tailgates, by the way.
Nice,
yeah,
absolutely.
baby.
Fit right in, Uncle Mosh. Perfect. All right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Let's get into some game stuff. Let's get into some Raider-specific stuff. So Mosh, obviously huge game this last week with the Raiders knocking off the Denver Broncos, our much-hated rival, on Christmas Eve. And, Mosh, this happened on December 24th, as I mentioned, Christmas Eve. This now joins a long list of significant Raider dates here in late December. Just to cover a few of them, December 21st, 1974 was the Sea of Hands game. Then December 22nd, 1973, we beat Pittsburgh in the divisional playoff round.
Wait, who'd we beat?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
I messed up my own joke. Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Squealers. We beat them in 73. In 72, on December 23rd, your birthday.
My birthday.
Was the Immaculate Deception. 1977, December 24th, was the Ghost to the Post.
Right.
And now, 2018, the last game in Oakland where we beat the Donkeys. But, Mosh, I think the most significant one, and you tell me your thoughts, but I think the most significant game in late December was December 26th, 1976, AFC Championship in Oakland, when we finally beat the Steelers to get to the Super Bowl to play the Vikings. What do you think there? You think that's it?
I think when I look back and I remember it, and I'm trying to think, did we want that more? Did we want to beat Pittsburgh more? Of course we wanted the AFC Championship because we go on to the Super Bowl. But did we – I mean, this year's had its ups and downs, and it's tumultuous and everything that goes along with it. So we really wanted to go out with a bang this year. And in the big scope of things, it was wonderful to go out with a win. But that year, we had to beat Pittsburgh, man. I mean, it's the Raiders spoilers, you know. I gotta say that I think Raider Nation had to have that win. I mean, we would have been so much more disappointed had we lost that game. This year we've had some disappointments, you know, and so I think if we would have lost at home in a close one, it would have been, you know, I'm not saying it would have been okay. It wouldn't be the storybook ending like it is now. But had we lost that year, just one more defeat at the hands of those cheaters, you know, it would have been. I think it would have been just
I would have
so
changed the
devastating.
entire history of the team at this point now, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that when you look at these wins and you look at the significance of games, oftentimes, especially nowadays, we kind of get caught up in the immediacy of things, but only time gives you the appropriate, you know, evaluation of how significant these things really are. It's like people that say, like, you know, well, and I don't want to turn this into a big discussion here, but like people that go, oh, LeBron's the best, hands down. Well, those people probably didn't see Jordan a lot. Probably didn't see Bob Cousy or Jerry West either. You know what I mean? Or Bill Russell or
Pistol Pete.
Right, exactly. And so
you know?
We tend to kind of get cut. And I'm guilty too. Like I'm like, oh, this is the greatest Christmas Eve game ever. Well, really, was it? I don't know. It was because I was alive for Ghost of the Post, but I was 4. Like I don't remember the guy. I can.
We were mad at you. Shut up. Go sit down. You're 4. Pay attention or leave. You know?
So anyway, so speaking of the 76 game, we do have the aftermath, and the announcing kind of reflects back the significance of it. Even though it was the immediate moment, history has played out, it shows that it was one of the bigger wins in Raider history.
12 seconds, 10. All hell's going to break loose here pretty soon. I wouldn't be surprised. Look at them. They're coming out. Bradshaw down to 3, 2. This is the last play of the game. Lynn Swan has it, and Lynn Swan
Atkins just grabbed him by the hand.
That's the game, and it's the Raiders of Oakland, the Vikings of Minnesota in the Super Bowl, and the Raiders have finally broken the seal and have made it after 5 years of going to the punt and couldn't get over it. I want to thank Joe Costanza very much for his all-season long brilliant work here in the booth. Here's the Raider locker room. There's the happiest man in Oakland, Don Madden. This guy's he's averaged 10 victories a year in 8 years. He's got a tremendous record. There's a general managing partner, Al Davis. And they finally did it. They finally did it as right.
I think there was there might have been some bad words in the background.
Was there? Was there from the players?
Yeah, there might have been some.
Hey, that was on broadcast television. So call NBC there.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so pretty big deal there. So that was cool. Now let's look at it from another way. One more time here.
Okay.
Because that's what we do here on Raiders Fan Radio. We like to dissect things. And so Uncle Mosh, so was that the most significant late December game? Not probably not. But was it the most significant Christmas Eve game for the Raiders? So just looking at the last 4 years, Raider Nation, here's what we got. Christmas Eve 2015, that was Charles Woodson's last game in Oakland. Now, we beat San Diego on that day, and that was amazing. The opening of our show, Charles Woodson saying Raiders.
Right.
That's what that's from. So that was a big deal. And as we all know, 24 plays a huge role in the significant. Even though he was gone for that middle time there, we went to Green Bay. I mean, Charles Woodson, man, he's one of the greatest. And so there's that game. There's Derek Carr breaking his leg, or he didn't break it. The Trent Cole did. But anyways, 2016, the Raiders were poised for a playoff run. Our defense was struggling, but I still would have liked to have seen us get a shot to see how far we could have got. I'm pretty sure we could have beat the Texans.
That was one of the hardest shows we ever did.
That was
after
terrible.
that.
That was
after that.
Awful. That was awful.
It was Debbie Downer for sure, man.
Debbie Downer for
was
sure.
Bad.
That was rough. So that wasn't. It was significant. It wasn't significant for good reasons. It was bad, but and it was still significant. And then last year, Mark Davis meets with John Gruden on Christmas Eve, and of course, this sets the stage for Gruden's then return on Christmas Eve, and then last night, or return to the team, and then last night, not last night.
I know what you're saying.
Thank
2 days
you.
ago.
Thank you. 2 nights ago, we beat the Broncos then on Monday Night Football for Christmas Eve. So, Mosh, out of those, what's the most significant?
That's a no-brainer, bro.
What is it?
It's 2 days ago.
I think so, too.
And I'll tell you why. I got a couple things.
Okay.
Number one, Dwayne Harris.
Oh, man.
So the first thing I texted you, I called you, I was standing up screaming, and the wife is in the other room, and she's like, what happened? Did you fall down? And I'm like, no. Nobody fell down. Dwayne Harris just ran 99 3/4 yards, for a freaking score off of a punt. And I'm asking you, I'm like, what's your name? I said, Murf, when was the last time, man? When was the last time that happened? And then come to find out it's the second longest return of a punt in NFL history.
Yes.
And then the way that we won and how we played and Jordy balling out. And I mean, there was just so much stuff. It was amazing. It was amazing. I loved it, man. I loved it. I love that it's that game that everybody will remember, It's where were you? Where did you watch that game?
Exactly.
It's that kind of a vibe. Plus, my number one thing, who did we beat?
The Donks.
Yeah. So in the last few weeks, we have beat Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Pittsburgh. And we have beat the Donks.
Yes.
And next week, we're going to beat KC in KC.
Ah.
When was the last time that in that last 5 weeks of the season we beat Pittsburgh, the Donks, and KC? I can't tell you.
That's a good run.
I got to go to Raider Nation to say, when did that happen? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'd have to look at the records, man.
Yeah, I don't have that prepared either, but I'm telling you, that's a good run.
God.
Considering what a letdown the season has been at times, if we finish like that, okay.
Come on. I'll take it.
So real quick, before we because we want to talk about the significance, too, of the Harris return. We're going to get to that in a sec. But before we get to there, I want to talk about the significance of playing in Oakland. And Howie Long was on the Rich Eisen show. And, of course, as you know, Howie Long was a majority of his career, almost the entirety of his career was a Los Angeles Raider. But he did play in the beginning. He did play in Oakland. And so, and in fact, for the longest time, I remember it was always the last Oakland Raider was Howie. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
There was a long period of time where he was referred to as the last original Oakland Raider.
Right.
Because he was the last Oakland Raider to retire. Of course, now we've had an influx of many, but anyway, so Howie's, the significance of playing in Oakland is certainly not lost on Howie, and he talked about that on Rich this last week.
When you just heard what Gruden had to say and whether you do believe this is the last Raiders game in Oakland coming up on Monday.
If in fact it is, it's really sad. And I think we've had this conversation before. I started my career there, and being drafted by the Oakland Raiders, and once again the history of the year before I was drafted, they had won the Super Bowl. It was that team that was the first wild card team to win in 81, 80, but the 80 season, 81 Super Bowl. Some of the greatest players in NFL history have played for that organization in that stadium. So many historical moments. Totally agree. At the end of the day, you've been to the stadium, Rich.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You've been in the bowels of the stadium. You understand what we're talking about. An NFL team, if you're going to compete, cannot compete with that kind of a stadium. And in a perfect world, the county would have worked something out, but there's just no money there. And that's the shame of it, because I know this for a fact. Mark Davis's number 1, 2, and 3 choice were to stay in Oakland. And unfortunately, that just couldn't be worked out in any way, shape, or form. And now the reality is that the team's going to move to Vegas. Not sure when. Right now it's scheduled for not next season, but the season after. And now there's a lawsuit, which would, if there's that kind of a lawsuit, put yourself in their shoes. Why would you play in a stadium where you're being sued?
Right. So what's your favorite memory of the Black Hole, Howie, if you could choose one from your memory banks?
I played a game on, having gone to Villanova, I was a huge Steeler fan. And could, every player on that defense, loved every one of them. Joe Green, as a matter of fact, the reason why I took 75 was Joe Green. And my rookie year, I lived with a guy named Cedric Hardman. And Cedric was about 34 years old, 33, 34 years old at the time. Old San Francisco 49er defensive end from the Gold Rush with Jimmy Webb and, guys that I'm throwing out there that people won't know. But Cedric was a great pass rusher. He was also Joe Green's roommate in college at North Texas State. So my rookie year, we're playing the Steelers at the Coliseum on Monday Night Football. And Joe Green comes over to our little apartment that we have in Alameda, and I'm sitting there at dinner with Joe Green. And end up playing the Steelers, get a couple sacks. And I remember jumping up and down and going crazy. And here I am, I'm 21 years old, and, we just got done playing Delaware, and now I'm playing the Steelers. And I remember Art Shell said to me, "Kid, act like you've been there before." I haven't, though. No, so there were some great memories. To me, it was that fan base there is so rabid. It's so crazy. And it truly is a team that transcends that area, though. There's great fans in Los Angeles. I think, I feel for the Chargers right now because they have a great football team, and they seem to be kind of a nomadic team. And there's the stadium they're in right now. It's a small stadium, and 60-70% of the fans in the stadium are opposing teams' fans.
Well, he's got that right. We've often said the most popular team in Los Angeles is moving to Vegas.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But hey, so I want to throw it to you, but real quick, Mosh, I love it how he just goes, and I got a couple of sacks and yeah, okay, easy, Howie.
Jeez.
Easy Hall of Famer.
He's so humble.
He it's that's just what I do. I just go out and get a couple of sacks. Yeah, we wish we had somebody like
I
that.
know, right?
We could just go out and get a couple of sacks anymore. But anyways, what do you think about that? About Howie's comments?
Kev put in there, we love some number 75, and I'm like, yeah, we all love some number 75, man.
One of the greatest.
Jeez.
One
Amazing.
of the greatest. All right, so one last thing here. So let's dissect this thing one more way. So we've looked at it in the history of late December games. We've looked at it as the history of Christmas Eve games. What about in terms of Monday night? Now, I answered this question on Mondays with Mikey and Murf, but I want to hear Mosh's approach on it. So Mikey asked me, what was my most memorable Monday night game? Now, my most memorable was unfortunately a loss. It was the one where where Jerry Rice broke the touchdown record playing then for the Niners, and Napoleon McCallum broke his leg in 1994. That was the one that I remembered most. Of course, then there's the Brett Favre game, which was also a loss, so that was memorable. But as far as like wins go, my most memorable win was in 2002 when Rod Woodson ran a touchdown back 98 yards, and we beat the Broncos. We beat the snot out of them like 34-10 on our way to the Super Bowl that year. Now, that was my most memorable win, but I wanted to ask Mosh, because when you look at the history of the most memorable Monday night games, most of them were in the 70s. Like when we were the kings of Monday night, we never lost and all that stuff. But I don't really remember those days very, very well. Do you? Is there one that in particular that like stands out to you? Like, of course, there's one in 76. We mentioned 76 a lot, the one where we beat the Chiefs. But was there one in particular that jumps out at you?
And you're talking about like that one in 79 when Stabler had that great game against the Saints, right, where he comes in and throws those 4 touchdowns, and I mean it was phenomenal. But for me, it's just a couple years after that.
Okay.
It's in 83.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. For a global football fan,
okay,
you know, of course it's Plunkett. Plunkett's
right.
from San Jose, so it's a hometown guy, you know, and that was our team that year. We went on to 83, went on to win the Super Bowl and all that. But we were playing Miami, and it was September, and so it was an early game. Plunkett only threw 15 passes in that game. He completed 11 of them, and we won. We won 27-14, but there was this guy on the other side who made an appearance, his first time ever. Your boy, Dan Marino.
Really?
Marino's first game, his debut, and he had a couple of passes in the end for TDs, but it was all of a sudden, everybody was like, it's like earlier when you and I watched the Cleveland game, and we said, this quarterback, remember? When we're like, this guy's good.
Yeah.
We could follow this guy.
He's fun to watch.
If he wasn't for somebody else.
Right.
You know? And we had that same feeling about, wait, this is that Marino? Marino
this
and
Italian kid flinging the ball
Italian
around.
kid, and he was drafted like 7th round or I don't know, whatever.
It was late anyways,
he
was first round, but still
first round. He was number 7.
But he was after Elway and all that.
And he was way down on the Heisman, and he had this great collegiate career, and his senior year kind of sucked. But so it was like, wow, that's that. When you recognize the greatness of somebody else, and I think there was a game when we played Buffalo, and and everybody knew that OJ was great and everything, but I don't know, man. That was pretty cool. That was a good one. That was a good game.
That's a good one. And full disclosure here, I used to root for Dan Marino a lot when I was a kid. Because the Raiders were gone. Like, you got to remember, like, we were Bay Area, San Jose Raider fans. When the Raiders left and went to Los Angeles, and I know we have in fact, the majority of our listeners are in Los Angeles, so don't kill me for this. But there's a rivalry there. Here, breaking news. There's a rivalry between Northern and Southern California in the sports landscape. It's, the Warriors and the Lakers. It's the Giants and the Dodgers. There's a rivalry there. So when the Raiders went to L.A., there was a rivalry there, and a lot of us Raider fans were like, oh, man, why are they going to Los Angeles? And so we didn't necessarily take up the mantle of other teams, but we found other players to root for. And as a 10-year-old plus kid, Marino was one of the players that I started to root for.
Yeah.
And especially when they played the Niners, because we all still hated the Niners.
Everybody
hated the Niners. So the Dolphins played the Niners in the Super Bowl, and we were like, yeah, go Marino, go, whatever.
It's funny you should say that, because I just ran into a guy at Best Buy the other day. And he's this huge Raider fan, and he's from L.A., right? So we are immediately talking Raiders football, right? And we're talking, right in the middle of Best Buy, 3 days before Christmas. There's 12,000 people there. And he's the manager. And we're over on the side talking Raider football.
Nice.
People are wanting, how much is that GoPro? I need to buy $12 million worth of TVs. And he's like, hang on a second. So anyway, in 1980, so we're talking, and he goes, I got my fan cave all set up, and I got Raiders on this wall, and and we're just like, yucking it up. And then he goes, and then I got my Dodgers stuff over here.
And you're like, come again?
I said, who?
What?
The Dodgers? You mean New York's other baseball team?
Yeah.
You know? And so we laughed about it, but you said that, but the Raiders are the only team that transcends all that.
Yeah, that's
exactly
right.
And we love our LA fans, man. Football team, not when it comes to, I mean, I was at the A's Dodgers World Series, and sorry LA fans, I didn't root for the blue and white.
No.
And I've met Tommy Lasorda,
Yeah.
he called me fat, but that's not the point.
When Tommy Lasorda calls you fat.
Yeah. This is that's when he was doing his Slim Fast commercials. So he did good.
That's like us calling Billy Martin drunk.
Tommy Tommy came at the high school I teach at. Tommy came to scout one of our players, baseball players, and I was doing the play-by-play for the announcing. You were helping me.
Yeah.
And so afterwards I met him and I'm like, hey, Mr. Lasorda, and I'm shaking hands. I'm standing there and he gave me one of his Hall of Fame bobbleheads and a signed ball and everything. And he's going, I said, Mr. Lasorda, I said, I got to tell you, I said, I'm a Giants fan. I said, I grew up hating you. I said, but I'm shaking his hand at this point. And I said, but it really is an honor to meet you because, I recognize the things that you've done. You were the only manager other than Walter Alston of the the LA Dodgers, and he looks at me and he pats my stomach and he goes, get ready on the beep. And he goes,
okay, all right.
And he goes,
earmuffs, kids.
Yeah. And he goes, well, son, it's okay. Because I was an asshole once. And I'm like, right on. Tommy Lasorda called me an asshole, It was like a highlight of my life, And my respect for the Dodgers went up just a little bit, except when they play the Giants. But anyway.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Sorry, I digress.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Good story, Mosh. All right, so memorable Monday night game was Raiders Dolphins for Mosh in '83, and mine was the Raiders Broncos in 2002. All right, so speaking of memorable Monday night games, this last one was amazing. Folks in the chat are talking heavily about the Dwayne Harris return. Mosh, it set the tone. It's going to be one of the most memorable plays in Raider history,
Absolutely.
Especially considering how bad things have been lately. So the significance of this. So Mosh mentioned when he asked me right away, when was the last time this happened? Well, it's been 10 years. Okay, the last time that a Raiders player had returned a punt was Johnny Lee Higgins in 2008. I had the player right when we were in the moment. I thought it was 2011. I said 2011, but it was Johnny Lee Higgins. I had the player correct. So it was Johnny Lee Higgins in 2008, who was a beast in Madden, by the way. I used to beat my brother with him all the time.
Yeah, but your brother liked to have the 49ers, so that's okay.
That was easy. Yeah. But he feared Johnny Lee Higgins. So Johnny Lee Higgins returned a punt in 2008, and then Jacoby Ford was the last kick return, and I believe that was 2012 or something. Don't hold me to that number. You have to look it up. But anyways, the last punt return was Johnny Lee Higgins in 2008. So here's the play, man. We got to play it. You're going to hear it for the rest of your Raider life. You're going to hear this play because it was freaking awesome. And play it. There it is.
So he drives it deep over the head of Harris. Let's see if they can pin it inside the 10. As good job by the coverage unit. Harris says, I'm going to play this because I can. And look at the return he gets. What a smart move by Harris as he gets free. How about it, Raider Nation? Wow.
All right. It's so amazing. Oh, sorry, Mosh. You got it. Go ahead.
No, so what I was going to say is that it was pointed out on the chat as well as by the announcers. At one point, he was clocked at 19 miles an hour.
Really?
19 miles. Do you know that there's times when I've sat on the 280 wishing I could go 19 miles an hour?
Yeah.
19 miles an hour. If you're in stop and go traffic, if you're on the 5 down in LA, and somebody comes by you at 19 miles an hour, they're screaming.
They're flying.
Dude was clocked at 19 miles an hour in pads.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
That's
it's
crazy.
So cool. So a couple things really cool about that too, Mosh. Number one, the camera shot, the sky cam, following behind Harris as he's running down the sideline. Amazing work. Look, we'll give ESPN a bad time at the drop of a hat. You don't have to go far to find a couple of guys to run ESPN down the road. But as far as that goes, look, their announcing is questionable, but the footage is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Them following him down that sideline from Skycam was great. And the other thing I want to touch on what he says. Smart move by Harris, and
he's brilliant.
Harris is probably the smartest special teams player that I've ever seen. I don't know about you, but and not only from this play, but there was one earlier in the year where it was a kickoff that was going to go out of bounds or at least close to it, right around the pylon.
Right.
And do you remember he went over and he stuck his foot out of bounds and picked it up in order to get the flag?
Yep.
Okay. Mikey brought that up on Mondays with Mikey and Murf, and I said, well, I don't know how intentional it was because I think we were just fortunate. No, Murf, you're wrong.
Yeah.
It was 100% intentional. This guy is one of the headier football players that you'll ever see. So not only was he smart on that one, he was smart on this one. And look, this is how cool this guy is, man. So Harris, this was a quote that I found back in early December, so a few weeks before this play happened. Listen to what he says. A lot of people don't know, but if the punt team bats the ball before it goes into the end zone and we pick it up and try to run with it and we fumble it, it doesn't matter. We still get the ball back. No one knows that rule. It's always been like that. And then he laughed. A lot of people just don't know the rule. A lot of people see me every game go and try to get the ball if they touch it. They're like, why are you trying to touch the ball? And I'm like, it's because of the rule. It helps to know the rules.
Brilliant. That's freaking brilliant.
I didn't know that. Did you?
I've been a fan for how many years?
Yeah.
I honest to God, I didn't know that rule.
I didn't know that either. So
Whoa.
Look, so when next time, Raider Nation, if we bring somebody in and you're like, why would they bring that guy in? What? Here's why. Here's why you bring in Rich Bisaccia. Here's why you bring in people like Dwayne Harris. Look, I know the wins and losses are not what we all want them to be. I know at times this team has played flat. I saw the Cincinnati game too. I saw the Niner game too. I get it, and we should not be happy about the way the team has performed at times. But the personnel and the reason that they do some of the things that they've done, these are the kinds of things that happen, and you're like, okay, it makes perfect sense why you bring in a guy like this. Is he the most electrifying returner in all of the NFL? No. But was he better than Ryan Switzer? Yeah, he sure was. And here's why. You know what I mean? How heady is that? That's amazing. That's such good stuff.
Alexander Stockton on the chat says that's the epitome of what Gruden's looking for.
Yes.
And it's so true. It's so true.
Now we get 53 Dwayne Harrises, and what kind of a football team do we have?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That's what we're talking about, man. So anyway, great stuff there. So, of course, after they won, huge celebration for the Raiders, and let's go to Coach in the locker room.
We got an opportunity to finish, just like we talked about. We got a chance to go to Kansas City, and we got our back against the wall. It's going to be a short week. You have nothing tomorrow. Tomorrow's a day off for everybody. Appreciate that, Coach. Merry Christmas. I want everybody in here, however. I want everybody in here Wednesday ready to go, okay? I'm really proud of you, and I appreciate the effort. Believe me, the effort, all right, the concentration, the details were there tonight. It gives us something to really build on. We're playing good football in December. We have one opportunity left. And it's against the team that we hate the most, right, guys? All right? They don't like us either, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, let's go now. Merry Christmas. I love y'all. Family on three. 1, 2, 3. Family.
If that don't get you fired up, Mosh, how about that? Gruden straight up telling him,
it's the team we hate the most.
Oh. Yeah, take that, KC fan. We're going to roll into your crib and take away home field advantage. Fired up, Mosh. It's going to be awesome.
I like that soundbite you played a few weeks ago.
Which
we
one?
Going home, but so are you.
Yeah. They going home. That's exactly right. That's right. Okay, Mosh, so of course the players were fired up, and this is what the players had to say on the field right after the game was over.
What's going on, Raider Nation? We had to give you one last win, man. We love y'all. Good win, Raider Nation. We love you.
Raider Nation, man, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all 100. A1 day one, bro. Let's get it.
Hey, Raider Nation, baby!
I don't know if it's the last one, but if it is, we went out with a bang, baby. Woo! We got that. We don't know if it's going to be the last one here, but we got that dub, man. Raider Nation all the way, baby.
Hey, man, it feels great, man. The energy out here was amazing. We really appreciate Raider Nation coming out here and showing for us. If this was the last game here, man, it was fun, man. Appreciate y'all, Raider Nation. Let's get it, baby.
Love it. Love it. You know, and I love that the players, so many times we, you know, feel like players can be disassociated from the fans. You know, like they humor us because they have to. You know, they'll sign things or do whatever, but they feel like, you know, they're there for a specific reason to do a job, and fans be damned. You know what I mean? But to hear the players, I mean, immediately after the game, and their first response is, thank you, Raider Nation. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting us. That's legit, man. That's super, super cool stuff to hear that from the players. Okay, one last one. Let's go and let's hear from our leader. Let's hear from quarterback Derek Carr right after the game was over.
Hey, Raider Nation, I wanted to shout you guys out. Appreciate y'all having my back for these 5 years. I don't know if this is the end of the Coliseum, but if it is, I love you guys. Merry Christmas, and God bless y'all.
There you go. There's it. That's short and sweet and to the point. So, Mosh, before we move on from this and get into the Sea of Fans mailbag, I do want to bring up a couple more points there about the game itself. We're not analysts. We don't claim to be analysts, but we do notice some things from time to time on the field. And number one, Brandon Parker kept Von Miller in check. That pass rush, they got to Carr, I know, at least once. But when you're talking about Bradley Chubb and Von Miller and them being heralded as one of the best, pass rush duos in the league, and Brandon Parker not only, held his own, but he did a pretty bang up job over there, keeping Von Miller in check, which was amazing. So, he's been much maligned at times this season, but this game, absolutely not. He did a great job. Miller gave up one sack, I think the one to Chubb. He gave up the one sack, but he's kind of been playing through injuries. So I think this is been a great learning season, an opportunity for these two young tackles. That was awesome. Speaking of young men on this team, Arden Key is so close. He's like inches away from sacks.
He's right there, buddy.
Every single game. And I know that it almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, but man, Mosh, once this kid, he gains an extra half a step, literally a half a step, in whether it's his speed or explosiveness or play recognition or whatever it may be, all of a sudden these almost are going to turn into sacks. We'll talk about disruptive. I mean, he's already disruptive and he's not showing up on the stat sheet. So definitely a lot of respect to Arden Key. And then the last one I want to touch on, Uncle Mosh, Doug Martin was born in Oakland, California. Doug Martin played his high school football in Stockton, California, which is 80 miles to the east of Oakland, California. Marshawn gets heralded as the guy from Oakland and the return to Oakland and all that. But you got to know that this means just as much to Doug Martin as it did to Marshawn, as it would to any other player that returns to their hometown to play. And Doug Martin balled out. Doug Martin was about the deciding factor in this football game, other than the big defensive plays that were made.
Right.
Doug Martin was great. He's 29 years old. Like, he might still be around next year. Now, I was thinking when we signed him, he was going to kind of be a one and done, but we might see Doug Martin next year. He seemed to be pretty fresh, and he was passionate, man.
Absolutely.
He looked great, don't you think?
Yeah, he did, for sure, man. I mean, and I think that's one of the things that we came ready to play. We were there 2 nights ago ready to play. Yeah. And I think I wouldn't say that the Donks were flat, but I don't think they had the fire that we did, man. I just, you can just kind of see it. You can get that vibe, man. And I think that, God, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was. I think if I were a coach of the Donkeys, I would have been. I can't claim to be in their locker room, so I don't know what their pregame mentality was. But this had to be going into this game. You had to be so fired up for them and to come out a little flat-footed.
Yeah.
That's
why their coach is probably not going to be around next year.
Right,
all the talk now is that Vance Joseph's not going to make it. But I'm with you. That to me is how aware the Raiders are of the significance of the moment.
Sure.
Shows how unaware that the Broncos were in the significance of the moment.
Exactly.
Because you know what? If that was a Mike Shanahan coach Broncos team, whoa.
Right.
We'd have saw a completely different outcome.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Or at least a completely different effort level from the team themselves.
Yep.
fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's tied. He throws. It is. He caught it.
So before Uncle Mosh gets into the sea of fans, which is where you contact the show at 909-345-3346, or you can email us, show@RaidersFanRadio.com. The third way, really, to get in touch with us is to join us in the chat room. So whenever we do the show live, we are live on YouTube, youtube.com/Murf's Fan Cave, and we have a great active chat that joins us for each and every show. So thank you to those of you that have joined us this morning. I can't scroll up, but I see a bunch of names here. Just Win Johnny, Bobby Wasabi, Ron, Alexander Stockton, David Crockett, and see, I Like It Spooky, Raider Homer, Freddie Chavez, and I see another one in there, the Fringe Podcast.
Huh.
You know what the Fringe Podcast is, Uncle Mosh?
I know he's incognito.
He's a little, or as Beavis and Butthead would say, he's in burrito. But yeah, that is former co-host of this show. That is Sonny. So thank you, Sonny, for joining us here on Raiders Fan Radio. Appreciate and that's Sonny's new podcast. So let's definitely show Sonny respect there. That's him and his buddy TJ. They do an amazing new podcast. It's about really the
real life stuff,
like youth workers. Both of them are on the field of youth counseling. Sonny particularly in terms of alcohol and drug addiction and the challenges that come along with that.
And they do a great job.
They do,
both
literally doing the Lord's
in their
work.
jobs and on their podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So definitely want to shout them out. Thanks, Sonny, for joining us. So Sonny had a question. Oh, I missed it. It scrolled up. I couldn't read it. But anyways, thank you for joining us today in the show for sure. So definitely join us if you can in the chat. Send us an email. Send us a voicemail. And to start us off tonight, start us off this morning, Uncle Mosh has a couple emails for you.
Well, before we get into that, do you want to hit Sonny's question?
I would love to.
Murf,
I couldn't
does
read
the
it.
final game and what happened afterwards with the fans make you scared about the Vegas turnout of fans at home games?
You know, that's a great question. Wouldn't expect any less. So, you know, the thing ultimately, and this is, I think, part of what I was trying to say and didn't do a very good job of wording it early on, was that no matter what happens in Vegas, it's going to be fabricated, where everything that's ever happened in Oakland has been organic, from the tailgate to the black hole to everything. Now, granted, Al Davis was a master marketer. He was a master at crafting the image of the Raiders from the fans, the skull, the pirate, the pillage, all that stuff. You know, his messaging was brilliant and he crafted it. But from that image that was crafted, the fans then developed and built what is now Raider Nation. And so that in Vegas will never be what it is now. And they can have a black hole in the new Vegas stadium. They can call it the black hole. They can even make the section numbers the same, but it's not going to be the same. They can manufacture some sort of tailgate. By all accounts, the parking spaces are going to be limited. So you're going to do your tailgating at a casino and then Uber to the game, which is fine. And like you and I are certainly not opposed to hanging out in a casino and playing some cards before going to a football. Like none of those things are bad, but it's not going to be the same. And so I think ultimately, Sonny, that's how I would answer the question, is that I don't think there's going to be any shortage of fans at the game. I don't think that, yes, you're going to see a higher mix of opposing teams' fans because it's Vegas and you're going to have people building vacations around going to see their favorite team play with a Vegas vacation. So there's going to be more diversity in the crowd as far as who is representing what team. So I don't think it's going to be an attendance issue, but ultimately the vibe is never going to be what it is now. It just can't be. It can't be that organic build of a fan base because no matter what, it's Vegas. And that's what Vegas does. It's glitz, it's gloss, it's manufactured, it's fabricated, and that's what we're going to get. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's all bad. It's just going to be way different. What do you think?
I disagree a little bit.
Okay.
I think that I equate it to what I've gone through. You know, I'm a teacher by trade, and I've been part of in a town where we have a number of high schools, And as a new school, we're in a town that's growing unbelievably.
Yes, yeah.
So we have in a situation where a new school opens and a group of those teachers, it's not necessarily a move like it will be when the whole organization goes, but you take a bulk of them and they go to a new school in the town, and so you have this instant rivalry, and you try to bring some of the traditions with you, but organically those new traditions will arise. So we won't be able to bring, like you said, the manufactured black hole or whatever, but there will be new things that come with it, and that's the excitement of it. That's the coolness of, man, so, how is Vegas going to do that? How are they going to respond to that? Some of that may be manufactured, but if it's embraced by Raider Nation, man, it could end up being a fantastic tradition, 20 years from now when we're still doing the podcast and we still have tens of listeners. Well, I think it's great. I think Sonny hit on it. He just responded on the chat. It'll be bittersweet for sure, but we'll take that. We'll take that. We don't have any choice. It's a lot nicer facility, and you probably won't be peeing in a trough.
Yeah. That's it, and I agree. I think we probably agree much more than we disagree on this. Is that yes, it's going to be completely different, but I think it's okay to be okay with it though too. Like it's okay to be like no one likes change, and especially something like in sports where you have this. It's all about tradition, and no one celebrates the tradition and the history of this team more than us.
Look,
we do it every single week, but it's okay that it's going to be different. You just got to learn to, embrace the new, what that change is going to, because otherwise, then what else are you going to do? You're just going to bitch about it for the next however long. And then,
people are always going to call them the Oakland Raiders. When I was watching them in L.A. with your dad and Sonny's dad, they were still Oakland. We still call them Oakland. Everybody knew who it was. Oh, who we got this week? Oh, we got Oakland. Kansas City's got Oakland. It was L.A. It was the LA Raiders. So, when Muhammad Ali changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, for a long time, people still called him Clay. And I know that there's a whole lot more that goes along with that. Lou Alcindor, when he became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he was still Alcindor for a long time. You know what I'm saying? It's the same person, the same stuff that goes along.
Like how people still call the Chargers San Diego?
Yeah,
well, even more so than just Stephen A. though, right?
Yeah. Who?
Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. There you go. There you go, Mike.
Hey, let's move on. We're going to get behind time.
Let's go.
Okay, so our first email, our first person to come in on the Sea of Fans, because that's the segment we're in, by the way.
Segment, and don't forget your Sizzler.
Oh, yeah. No, I never forget the Sizzler.
Okay.
So this guy sent us a letter.
Well, tell him what it is.
Don't tell him what it is?
No, tell him what the Sizzler is.
Oh, yeah, the Sizzler.
Yeah. So each week.
Sizzler.
Set it up.
Yeah, Sizzler. So each week when we have a fantastic email that comes, a fantastic audio that comes in, it's a Sizzler, man. It's hot. It's smoking. It's just to the point. And it is, and that gets the Sizzler Award.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and we've had some great winners, So anyway, tonight, I just did it. This morning, jeez, I need more coffee. So this morning, our first one is an email, and there was a great story. Raider-made man Jack from Oregon, sent us a story.
Who looks just like Sonny, by the way.
Yeah, he does. And are you going to post these pictures on the interwebs?
I can.
Okay,
sure,
so these pictures. So he told us we had a little contest. What's your best holiday story? And he told us one about it. Oh, there's this cat chasing robbed the nativity scene, and it was just his family and all the screaming and yelling in this Italian household and everything. So he said, this is his. He sent it with pictures, and this is his email. It says, so for Christmas Eve, and to celebrate the Raiders beating the Broncos, my girlfriend and I decided to reenact the events of the stealing of the Mary with a Cherry at the local mall. He said the people were awesome and let us
until after Christmas to say that.
I know, right? He said the people were awesome and they let us be silly. So here you go. Merry Christmas, Raiders fans, Raider Nation, and Murf and Uncle Mosh, Little Murf, paying my respects to you all. And it shows a picture of him with a statue of the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus running through a store and his girlfriend chasing him. And it's a hilarious picture.
Show him in your camera there.
Yeah, much love, Raider Made Man Jack and his upgrade of an amazing woman, Amy.
There you go. There's a picture. So they're running through the store there. He's got the Mary, and then he's wearing his Raider hat, and he's cradling the Mary with the baby Jesus. So pretty funny.
So funny. He's
pretty
such
funny.
So we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And then we got another one from our buddy over in Mississippi.
Shropshire, Mississippi.
Shropshire, Mississippi. And it says, happy holidays, fellas, with a, what a.
You know somebody's going to go looking for Shropshire, Mississippi on the map.
Well, yeah.
And if there's not one now, there needs to be.
Call me, because when I leave here, I'm on my way to Tunica, Mississippi.
Yes, you are.
Happy holidays, fellas. What a bittersweet game that was. A great performance and result. So proud of the guys. I hope Elway's food tastes sour for the rest of the day.
Well, he could eat it from around the corner.
Yeah, right? I hope Elway. Okay, blah blah blah. I live 5,218 miles from Oakland. I've never had the privilege to attend a game there and savor the tailgate experience or anything like it. And I was tearful throughout the game, so I can only imagine what it must have been like for you and the others that have history there. I may not have had the privilege of attending a game at the Oakland Coliseum, but I do have the honor of being part of the nation. I'd better stop. I'm getting teary again. The best way to say goodbye was with the win and to have a special play in the game like Dwayne Harris's return. Love you guys. Have a great day. Go Raiders. And our friend Paul from Shropshire, Mississippi.
Awesome email, Paul. Great job. And yes, that is absolutely the truth. And that's the thing about Raider Nation. We are global. As Chuck likes to say, we're in your backyard. You know, and it doesn't matter what you've been to, what you haven't been to. It's just all about how you embrace and are passionate about this team and what we call Raider Nation. So absolutely, and that is a awesome email from our buddy Paul. So for those of you that don't know the joke, Shropshire is in the UK and it's just west of Birmingham, which in our country, west of Birmingham, Alabama, is Mississippi. So the joke is that he's from Shropshire, Mississippi. So great job, Paul, in the email. All right, Uncle Mosh, our first call this week comes from Las Vegas. And second-time caller now to the show. We're going to hear from our buddy Ruben.
Hey, guys. Ruben from Vegas again. Watched the last episode on YouTube, and Uncle Theo Mosh, the wall in the back is kind of bare. And I don't have much, but I happen to go to when the NFL announced the Vegas move, I happen to go to the Welcome to Las Vegas sign, and I have an extra sign that says Welcome to Las Vegas Raiders. So if when I get home from work, I will email you guys a picture, and if you guys respond, I will look to mail it to you guys. And another thing, I hope we beat the Donkeys. I can never say that other name of the team, Denver. I call them Donkeys. They will always be Donkeys. Win, lose, or tie, Raiders till I die.
Awesome, Ruben. Isn't that cool? So he sent us a picture of it, and it's awesome, and it's a welcome to Vegas Raiders and all that. It's really so I sent him the address, and Ruben will extend the offer back to you, my friend. Send us that picture. We will gladly hang it up
right
there
behind me, yeah.
Hang it behind Uncle Mosh, and we'll send you a gift pack back. We'll send you, when we get the new Raiders Fan Radio shirts, we'll send you a shirt, and we'll send you some stuff from DeadPirateSports.com as a show of our appreciation back to you. So yes, definitely. Wouldn't that be great, Mosh?
Oh, that would be
Wouldn't
fantastic.
that be cool to have that hang up behind you?
I gotta start having my world behind me. You know, like my Sistrunk photo and my now that I'm an official, my membership to the Black Hole.
Well, we tried to theme a little bit. You got John Wayne, Tony Bennett wearing a Giants hat, and Sinatra. So we kind of went that way.
And there's that one picture of your kids that's got to go. That's where sister. I love your kids. You know, one of them's named after me, for crying out loud. But that's not the point.
But yes, we do. We need to start to. We need to tailor that, as the kids say.
Mosh World.
Mosh World back over there. And yes, we will do that soon. All right. So thank you, Ruben. We appreciate that. All right. Next up, let's hear from our buddy Mojo in San Diego.
Murf Mosh. Halftime. I hope I don't regret this. Mojo here in San Diego. 17-0. These dudes were playing with intensity. I like the fact that they were going around. I saw the owner. I saw Gruden. I saw all of them going around handshaking before the game. I'm pretty sure people are 3D printing out wrenches and going to steal the chairs tonight. Yeah, we ain't making the playoffs. It ain't happening. You know, I mean, nothing great is coming out of this season, but I'll tell you this is a good day. Merry Christmas. Just win, baby.
That's awesome. Merry Christmas back at you, Joe. That's a great email. And you know, the bedlam didn't happen. I saw a video of two fans run on the field. Both of them got destroyed by security, like Jason Kabinda was out there playing.
The security was this practice squad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was great. So I love seeing people get creamed like that. One of the best calls. You remember that when we had the call from Kevin Harlan when the fan ran on the field?
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
You know, some of the chat is just cracking me up. They're talking about, because earlier we talked about Elway, right? And then somebody said, if the glove don't fit, you have a horse face.
Ain't that the truth?
Oh, my.
Oh, good stuff. All right, let's go. Next up, we're going to hear from our buddy Houston Raiders Steve.
Hey, Murf Uncle Mosh, this is Houston Raiders Steve. Boy, what a great Christmas holiday present the Raiders win. I was over at Molly's Pub. They got my car flag hanging over the bar. I drive 20 miles out there just so I can sit in the Raider room and go, Raiders! Man, it was so awesome, man. That special teams touchdown by Harris, what a gutsy play. Man, he's one of the smartest players we got on special teams. The touchdowns, that last one when Richard jumped in the arms of Gorilla and Jungle Jane down there. What a way to send off the stadium. If this was the last night, Lincoln Kennedy in the postgame show said he had tears in his eyes. He knows many of the people down there. And Gruden and Derek Carr down there high-fiving everybody down in the black hole end zone. Man, and I think he went around the whole stadium. Carr might have. They cut away from that. But anyway, great win. They gutted it out on defense. They played hard. They ran hard. Martin and Richard. Jordy Nelson made some great catches and everything. They tried to neutralize Jared Cook, which they did, but we made plays with the other players we have. What a great win, man. Gruden, it was a way to send it off. And all I can say is thank you. We went down with a 2-minute warning against Kansas City. We lost that game, but we took it down there, beat the Steelers, had a hiccup last week, went out and beat a mediocre team, but a win is a win. It's always great to beat the Broncos, the Donkeys, ride the donkey song, like they say. Let's finish it off strong and win in Kansas City. Man, what a way to turn around the season. They're playing like we all knew they could. Great Christmas present. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Go Raiders. We're back, baby. Gotta love it. Riding the donkey.
All right. Houston Raiders Steve, good job on the call, buddy. Appreciate you hitting us up here at Raiders Fan Radio. Yeah, so pretty cool. You know, he talked about, post game, Derek Carr running around the stands, giving everybody high fives. And I saw him skip some Broncos fans. That was pretty good. And then also Mark Davis and Gruden before the game going out there and greeting the crowd. And so, we had mentioned on our show that something was going to happen significant to this game. And it was just, whether it was from having Marshawn light the torch to the players and coaches, acknowledging the fans. To me, that's really about all they're capable of if you think about it without some big grand ceremony. So I thought that was appropriate. I thought that was good. And then they let everybody kind of kick it a little bit at the end of the game where, like, a lot of times they have security will walk through and they kind of nudge you out. Sure. It looked like they were just letting people party a little bit, which was cool.
Yeah, there was a picture of 3 guys. Gosh, I should have got their names and I didn't. But there was, and they posted and they say we're the last 3. And then they were in the parking lot. Did you see that?
No.
It was I can't remember. It was either on my Facebook or on the Twitter feed. I can't remember what it was. And it was like they posted it like 10:30 or 11:30 at their time. And they're like, we're
cool.
just, and they're sitting there and they all got beer cans in their hands and they're all dressed out, and it was like, yeah, man. It must have been just an amazing atmosphere.
Oh, man. I can't wait. Well, again, we're going to talk to Michael Sen tomorrow and get a firsthand account of the game, and so that should be a lot of fun. We'll look forward to talking to him. All right, next up, we're going to go to our buddy Ron in Ohio.
Hey, guys, it's Ron. Just wanted to call in, wish everybody happy holidays. Whatever you're celebrating this time of year, we definitely all celebrated that win last night. That was pretty cool. Not always nice to see Elway lose. Can't stand that. What kind of a conceited ass changes the logo of his team to a picture of himself? Not good. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Yeah, good job, Ron. That was good. Yeah, I agree. But yes, and Merry Christmas back at you, and Happy Holidays, of course. And yeah, that was pretty funny. We were talking at one point where with Peyton Manning and his giraffe neck, and John Elway is with his horse face, and there was somebody else we made fun of too. And we're like, it's like going to the zoo showing up for a Broncos game, man. Like, what the heck? All right, next up, we're going to go to our buddy Raider Berto in Los Angeles.
It's Raider Beto here, and I'm not calling in from L.A. right now.
Oh, Beto.
In Oakland. I just saw the game, and wow, it sucks Oakland is leaving. You know, the Raiders is leaving Oakland, you know. That stadium was rocking. It was electric. It was loud. It was proud to wear the silver and black one last time in the Oakland Coliseum. It was exciting with that punt return from Dwayne Harris and that final interception that sealed the game for us from Eric Harris. It sucks that the Raiders are leaving Oakland. You know, my whole life I grew up with them being in Oakland, you know, since '99. You know, I always knew the Oakland Raiders. I didn't know the LA Raiders, and now I'm going to know the Vegas Raiders. But I made my own little saying. Oakland forever, but Vegas now. Anyway, little review from this game. Defense, it just shows you that our defense is very promising. And we don't need, you know, number 52 on that team or trash 51 either. But our defense shows promise. Our defense played with pride yesterday. You know what I'm saying? They were proud to play. They were proud to wear the silver and black. You know what I'm saying? And I love it. They got that commitment to excellence. They got the will to win. Man, I'm fired up for this defense. You know what I'm saying? Offense, we do need that star receiver, that star running back. But I like Doug Martin. He's playing with pride, and he's playing with passion. And I hope we keep Doug because we need that on our team. But anyway, we're going to make this short. Hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas, holiday, whatever you guys celebrate, you know, had a safe one with your families and stuff. You know, go Raiders and farewell Oakland, but Las Vegas now.
All right. Farewell Oakland, but Las Vegas now, Mosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty good stuff.
I mean,
there.
it's, you know, I like what he said. Oakland forever. Vegas now.
Vegas now. Yeah. Good stuff there.
That's
absolutely.
good stuff.
So appreciate it, Raider Beto. And Uncle Mosh, a couple comments in the chat there. Carl Rogers asked, who do we think the Raiders are going to draft? Carl, you're going to get an obnoxious amount of draft coverage coming in the near future. We're going to dive into that as soon as the season's over. We're just going to keep it kind of locked in on the goings of the Raiders as of right now. But this offseason, because of the draft being in Nashville, Uncle Mosh and I are going to have some quite a bit of draft content coming, and that was one of the reasons that we're doing some of the visual upgrades that we're doing, is that we're going to be set up to do live video remotes. So you're going to get live streams from us on location.
On location live.
That's right. So some pretty cool stuff coming from us. So stay tuned. You're going to hear lots and lots and lots of draft stuff from us. Also, one last thing too, Mosh. We mentioned the past couple shows about not letting Google Voice claim you. Try to keep it under 3 minutes, right? Preferably around a minute or two. Great job. Like, these calls are perfect. Yeah. Everybody's coming in a minute, 2 minutes, and it's perfect. So we got one more before we head on out of here. And let's go hear from our buddy Raider, Kevin. Raider the Kevin nerd, or Kevin the Raider. Whatever. You know who you are.
Kevin, the guy that sits in my chair.
That's him.
And Uncle Mosh, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, Raider Fans Radio. This is Kevin the Raider nerd. Murf and Uncle Mosh, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. I'm calling on Christmas Day. Really enjoying the Monday Night Football there. And also, Merry Christmas to Little Murph. I just want to say thank you guys, first of all, for the Sizzler Award recognition last week there, Uncle Mosh. Really appreciate that. And I just want to thank Raider Nation and the Raiders for bringing home a victory against the Donkeys, what may be the last game in Oakland. All the feels are happening last night, and I'm sure all of you were feeling the same. It was great to see Marshawn Lynch lighting Mount Davis, Dwayne Harris starting off that 99-yard punt TD return, Doug Martin with 21 rushes and 107 yards at a TD. Could have used more of that. And they also made mention of many of the famous games there at Oakland, including the Sea of Hands game versus the Dolphins, December 21st, 1st, 1974. 44 years ago. Jeez. Anyway, guys, I just want to say it was really nice to get a win for Raider Nation last night. And also, I just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone, all the listeners, all the made men, everyone there here at Raider Fans Radio. And also, Uncle Mosh, I want to give you a belated birthday wish there. Happy birthday, my friend. Anyway, looking forward to more episodes of Raiders Fan Radio. Love you guys. Keep it up. And I'll be in touch. Merry Christmas.
Wow. That was so nice.
It was great, yeah.
Sizzler. 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 Sizzler.
Sizzler. Sizzler. We were doing so good up to this point.
I know. Our timing was good until just now.
We got these, those of you that can't see us, we got these looks that we give each other, and we kind of, having done this for a while, we know, oh, yeah, that's a hit your button look. And but we were both messing around with our notes and stuff. So, hey, some great stuff today, man. Great calls. And like you said, everybody kept them short and sweet and to the point. And we had some folks that did some great recaps and talked about sitting in their favorite watering hole in the Raider room, But I love the shot at Elway. What kind of a general manager changes the logo? Actually, he called him a conceited ass. Changes the logo to look like his own face. But
right.
I got to go. This week's Sizzler, man, goes to Ruben.
Ruben.
Good job,
Ruben.
Good job talking about, he gave us a quick recap, brought up a couple things that we needed to talk about, and finished it off with, hey, man, win, lose, or draw, Raiders till I die, man. So anyway, good
Hanging
job,
up the
Ruben.
Vegas sign, absolutely.
Oh yeah, and the Vegas sign offer, man.
absolutely,
Oh yeah. So some folks may say, hey, he offered to give you a sign. That's how I get a Sizzler. Oh yeah,
we can be bribed.
We can be bribed.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, moving right along. Yeah.
Hit the. Oh, hit that.
We
one.
are Metallica.
I got it. You gave me the look.
Oakland Raiders.
You know why we out here, and we ain't playing around today.
From The Walking Dead to errant Jedi Knights, Raiders fans are a rogues gallery.
Hey, real quick before we move on to this very last segment, I want to tell Kevin not only thank you for the call, but Kevin and his co-host Kyle, who do the End Zone on the Fandom Podcast Network, I'm going to be guesting tonight on their network, on their show, The End Zone, and then they are going to do a talk with us. You're going to be out of town, but we're going to with me, and we're going to preview the heck out of the Kansas City Raiders game.
Oh, fantastic!
Coming up this week. So
how can we hear that?
So there, you can look for the Fandom Podcast Network. They're on all podcast services, and they have a whole bunch of shows, mostly pop culture related things, but they do have a football show on there where Kevin and Kyle talk about all the news of the league and give mediocre fantasy football advice as they self-proclaim. So definitely check those guys out, support what they do, and look for them on the next. We're going to have a few things coming up. We're going to have that conversation with them and the interview with Michael and whatnot. All this stuff is going to come in between the next episode official of Raiders Fan Radio. So be on the lookout for a lot of content, a lot of Raiders-related content coming to you this week. So speaking of Raiders-related content, Uncle Mosh, you and I have kicked around the idea of maybe doing a Raiders and pop culture segment.
Sure.
And the genesis of that was you made mention last week of a television show that you were flipping around on the channels and you came across, and the show was called Last Man Standing.
Right, my new favorite show.
And it's Tim Allen, and he is he's the dad in the show, and they live in Denver.
Right.
And you made comment about how the daughter brings home a new boyfriend and he's a Raiders fan.
Right.
And so I've been looking for the actual sound bite, and some of you have sent links to some different episodes, and I haven't found the exact ones that Mosh was referencing yet. But while I was doing that, looking for those particular sound bites, I came across some others in relation to the Raiders that I thought were pretty funny. And so we're going to play those real quick before we get out of here for the night. And it sounds to me like there's going to be a lot of this type of stuff on the show. I've never seen the show, but I think I'm going to now because it sounds like there's a lot of Raiders cracks in the show. And so here's the one that I was able to find. It's pretty funny.
I just got Darren McFadden. Oh, yeah.
Did you just mention an Oakland Raider in a Denver Bronco household?
The fan's not just a Raider anymore, Dad.
He's a Raider.
He's the new starting tailback on my fantasy team, the Three Faces of Eve. Yeah, baby. And all three of those faces are saying, "Suck it, Ed."
Listen, the Raiders are sworn enemies of the Broncos. It's like the Crips and the Bloods. Both of them were Raiders fans.
Sorry, Dad. But as the great Al Davis said, just win, baby.
Another name we don't say in a Bronco house.
Isn't that great?
And those that know Tim Allen know that he's from Detroit.
Yeah, he's a big Lions
So
guy.
he's a huge Lions fan. Yeah, I love it.
But he's a hip football guy, right? You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool, man, that he's hip enough to know that his character lives in Denver, so his character's a big Raiders fan there. So, yeah, good stuff there. So we'll definitely have more of that to come. And look for this offseason. Look for a segment from us, or we're going to call it Raiders and Pop Culture, and we'll go over and find, everything from Pete Koch, who has numerous connections back to pop culture and the Raiders.
Right.
John Matuzak is another one that would be one, is his appearance in different movies. We could go James Garner. We could go things like this where they appear in sitcoms or music. Lots and lots of different links back to the Raiders in pop culture, so we will do that. All right, one last time through the chat. Go ahead, Mosh.
I just got one thing. Yeah, Carl Rogers in the chat said he'd like to see Uncle Mosh race against Rich Eisen in the 40-yard dash.
There you go.
What Carl needs to know is that I am the fastest fat man alive.
You actually are and little known, it's a
little
known,
scary.
It's a little known fact there, Shammy, that Uncle Mosh used to be a competitive runner.
Yeah.
He actually was not only a competitive runner, but a cross-country coach and track coach.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So bring on Rich anytime, anywhere.
I would take Uncle Mosh in a second. He would smoke Rich Eisen. Believe it or not, absolutely. Yeah. And okay, so and then have a smoke and a donut when you got to the end.
Oh my gosh, yes. Right after the oxygen. Pull that oxygen away and replace it with a Marlboro. I'm good to go.
I can't scroll up in the chat, but I do want to acknowledge the folks in there. David Crockett, Joseph Morales, Bobby Wasabi, Just Win Johnny, Carl Rogers, Freddie Chavez, Bootleg Joe, Alexander Stockton, I Like It Spooky, Adam Hill. Anybody else I missed there? So thank you all very much for joining us for another episode of Raiders Fan Radio, episode number 109. You can find us, as always, on the YouTubes, youtube.com/Murf's Fan Cave. That's MURFS Fan Cave. You can find us on any podcast service like Stitcher, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, many, many more. Just search for Murf's Fan Cave, and please subscribe to us. That is the best way to support us here on Raiders Fan Radio, is to subscribe to our stuff, and then you get this show, Raiders Fan Radio, plus the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead, Tom and Fitz representing the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole, which Uncle Mosh is now officially a part of.
Yes, sir.
And you get Mondays with Mikey and Murph, the audio version of that show. So thank you to all of you, and I look forward to talking to you again very soon. We will talk to you next week. And Uncle Mosh?
Hey, win, lose, or tie, Raiders till we die. Remember, Oakland forever, Vegas now. What started in Oakland. No.
Wait,
Such a
take
good
it from the top. Take it from the top. Take it from the top. We'll cut it out.
Win, lose, or tie. Raiders till we die. Oakland forever. Vegas now. What started? I did it again.
Dang it, Mike. Okay, let me cleanse the palate. First off, Merry Christmas. Or whatever it is that you celebrate. Festivus. Hanukkah's already passed, but
today's the first day of Kwanzaa.
For today's, okay, there you go. So happy Kwanzaa, happy New Year to come. So thank you to all of you for supporting Raiders Fan Radio, and happy holidays to you all very much. And so after that, then now, Mosh, the palate has been cleansed. We have wished everyone a happy everything. Now, hit us with the tagline.
Win, lose, or tie. Raiders till I die. Oakland forever. Vegas now. What happens in Vegas started in Oakland. See you next year.